a feedlot full of beef cattle in Colorado. During their brief time on this planet, life is just an endless meal. But today, there's a distraction. An alien in their midst. It's not edible, it's not bovine, it's Temple Grandin, renowned doctor of animal science, the lady who talks to cows.
I can imagine what it would look like to see the world with, eyes on the side of your head right here.
She'll take a herd of cattle over a crowd of humans for company any day.
Well, I think I got a pretty good idea of, how these animals, perceive the world.
Does she ever? She understands them so well, she can turn a pen of unruly bovines into an orderly queue. So content, they even march peacefully off to slaughter. Dr. Grandin's unique skills have made her the #1 expert on moving livestock. 1 in every 2 beef cattle in North America spends its final days in one of her humane handling systems. And men who run the beef business line up for her unconventional advice.
Temple will actually climb into the pens with the cattle and spend an hour or 2 at a time milling around and acting as one of the cattle to see their view, see what they see and how they would react.
Did some of the guys around the yard think she was a bit wacky?
Yeah, they thought she was nuts.
Not too long ago, society would have called her nuts, maybe even locked her away because of her disability. Temple Grandin has autism, a brain disorder that conjures up disturbing images, kids rocking away in a world of their own. So you'd hardly associate Temple Grandin with autism.
I now see myself walking to church in dreadful, awful little straw Easter hats I had to wear. I hated them.
A confident urban cowgirl working the crowd.
You just look at the behavior of an autistic person, they all seem the same, but neurologically, they're probably not all the same.
Whether in a cattle yard or on stage as one of the world's most famous ambassadors for autism, Temple Grandin breaks stereotypes.
Temple is to autism what Elvis is to rock and roll. Temple is autism.
When I was a young child, I didn't talk, screamed all the time, had the typical behaviors.
And that was 50 years ago. She looked like every other cute kid, but she was tuning out, rocking, kicking, biting, sometimes even smearing the walls with her own excrement.
I'll just tear up my whole room, chew up stuff, and, like kind of things that would happen if you put a big dog in a room and it just went crazy and tore the room up.
But her family refused to give up on her, so special schooling and countless hours of speech therapy turned her into an odd but functioning teenager with some pretty big problems.
Well, you see, my skin was oversensitive. Like when people touched me, it was like an overwhelming tidal wave of stimulation. I wanted to feel a good feeling of being held, but it was just too stimulating.
Believe it or not, a cattle restraining device provided a solution. Constant pressure over the whole body. Looks like medieval torture. Feels like a giant mechanical hug.
So where are we going now?
I'm going to show you the squeezing machine.
The squeezing machine.
That's right.
Not your standard piece of bedroom furniture. The squeeze machine is Temple's homemade hydraulic relaxing device, modeled after a cattle restrainer.
Hey, you want to try it out?
Well, yeah, but tell me what's happening to you in
Squeezing
there.
me.
It's squeezing you.
I can control the amount of pressure.
And can you feel it relaxing you now?
Yeah. Put your elbows through right down here.
Right at this moment, I feel anything but relaxed.
Okay, now just pull the handle back now.
Okay.
And kind of push your knees out towards the wall more.
Yikes. Wow. Oh, now I see why you like it. Now that I'm actually in here.
That's right.
It's just like a great big body hug.
Once a week in the squeeze machine helps. So does the medication she's been taking for 20 years. But she still can't stand the feeling of rough fabric on her skin.
Take some heavy grit sandpaper, put it in your underwear, and that's what it would be like.
Loud noises make her crazy too. She explained that to Dustin Hoffman when he sought her advice for one of his toughest roles, the autistic brother to Tom Cruise in the film Rain Man.
So can you relate to this scene?
Oh, I can very much relate to this scene. In fact, when I talked to Dustin Hoffman, I explained about how these loud noises hurt. It's just like if I took a dentist drill and I just shoved it down your ear and it hit the nerve.
And what did you think of the way he portrayed an autistic person in
I
this
think
film?
he did a very good job on it.
Temple's intellect is extraordinary, but when it comes to dealing with complex adult emotions, she's lost.
See, people always ask me all the time, what do you feel? I'd rather talk to you about what I think, because I don't think it's very interesting to talk about what, how 8-year-old kids feel about things, and that's about where I am emotionally.
She says that's why she's celibate and just doesn't understand things like sex and love.
The idea of loving someone and being jealous, do you get that?
No, I don't get that. I think it's just stupid.
Have you ever wondered what sex would be like?
Oh, I can pretty well imagine it. And I don't think I'm missing anything that wonderful.
How much, or what do you imagine when you think of it?
Well, I don't think that's TV talk, so we're not going to discuss that.
Instead, she fills her life with pursuits of the mind, teaches part-time at Colorado State University, and she's on the road 300 days a year. Today, it's Fredericton, New Brunswick, a conference on autism. Her message to parents: don't let autistic kids tune out.
Well, one of the real common causes of tantrums is not being able to communicate. There's absolutely nothing more frustrating than that.
Parents snap up Temple's autobiography and grab the chance for a private word.
So how often should you do this?
Well, it's something you could just do it a couple of times a day even.
Telling people about autism is her duty. Handling livestock is her passion. In fact, she designed half of all cattle handling facilities in Canada and the US. Millions of dollars worth of equipment. It all grew out of a passionate, yet pragmatic desire to stop inhumane treatment of animals on their way to slaughter.
Compassionate killing doesn't come cheap. So why is the meat industry bought into it? Because it's profitable.
The biggest way happy cows make profit is they make for an operation that requires fewer people to push the cattle through the operation, and they result in fewer damaged cattle in the process.
If cattle are scared and the adrenaline's pumping just before slaughter, the meat gets tough. But Temple's unique understanding of animal fear helps prevent that.
Because the things that scare cattle are the same things that scare people with autism.
One thing that scares them is sharp corners that create strange shadows. Temple has eliminated that problem with gently curving chutes.
So they go from here and up
Right
here,
up there, and then
into
as
the
they
plant.
go around the round circle, one of the reasons that works really well is they think they're going back to where they came from. They think they're going back to the yards.
In fact, each cow gets a shot to the head, a steel bolt fired under tons of pressure.
Do you see some irony in the fact that you love these animals so much, yet you're helping send them to their death?
Well, everything dies. I mean, we had a tremendous storm here 3 weeks ago, killed thousands of cattle. Nature can be very harsh. Nature's a lot more harsh than a slaughter plant is.
So is life for Temple in a non-autistic world, where she's learned the subtleties of office politics and diplomacy the hard way.
Oh, I got fired from a job for writing a letter to the president of Swifts telling them that the way their engineers designed something was stupid. They didn't like having their noses smashed in it. That's one thing I've learned. Never wipe the customer's nose in their mistakes.
You've been called single-minded, tenacious, stubborn. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I just, the things that I work on, I mean, you just keep working on it, sort of single-mindedly, and that's how you get results.
Other people have called you a very brave person. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. It depends how you define brave. I'm not very brave when it comes to physical danger. You're not going to find me climbing up a mountain or anything like that.
But in spirit, are you brave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you are too.